Morning, and it is a good morning, and you have to pick your herbs in the morning. It's the best time really, because the dew that's on the herbs will dry off, and if you leave it until lunchtime, then the sun has dried off all the good essential oils. So mid-morning is a really good time to pick your herbs. Now sometimes herbs are actually come in neat little bundles already. Sage, for example, just one sprig has lots of leaves together, which is great for hanging. Just pop an elastic band on it and hang it up. They don't all come in little handy bundles though. Take this mint, for example. I've taken 4 sprigs here and putting them together to make a nice bundle. You don't want to make bigger bundles than this, because if you do, then the herbs that are on the inside never get a chance to dry, and they just go mouldy and they make everything else rot. Now I use elastic bands to tie up my herbs, basically because I've learned the hard way. If you use string, then when the herbs dry, they naturally shrink. The string doesn't. And so then the herbs just fall everywhere and then end up on the floor and things like that, so it's no good. So I use elastic bands that I get from the post office with my mail in the morning, so it's great cycling. And then put them onto a hook like this and hang a little label saying what the herb is. Now I hang mine up on a drying rack, but you could hang them up just as easily on a coat hanger, on any hook that happens to be away from walls and things like that. You want air to circulate around the herbs, and that's what dries them out nice and evenly. Now don't go hanging them in a dark, cold garage, because a garage is actually, they're usually damp, and dampness just rots the herbs and they'll never actually dry properly and it'll be a complete disaster. The best place to hang them is in a nice airy attic, or in a spare bedroom, or in the kitchen, anywhere you like. Purists will say that you can't hang them up in daylight, but really they're only going to be hanging up for a week, 2 weeks at the most, to dry them out, so it doesn't really make much difference. Just make sure there's plenty of air around about them and it's nice and warm. You could dry them in the oven as well, and I've got some thyme here, and I've just put it onto a baking tray like this, and I'll put it into the bottom of an oven, and the oven would be set at its lowest possible point, and then I wedge the door open with a wooden spoon. This is so that condensation can't build up inside and thus causing dampness and mould. So air circulates. It takes quite a while to do this, and just keep checking the herbs. Now you know when your herbs are dry when they are completely brittle and dry to the touch. This lavender, for example, is bone dry. Look at that. It just breaks up. And your leaves, everything should be in this condition when you want to use them. So make sure everything's completely dry. If they're not dry, then even one little leaf that's damp will cause the whole jar of herbs to go mouldy. So check everything thoroughly. There we have all my dry herbs. Put them into a jar. Now purists would tell you that you can only use brown glass jars to protect the herbs from light. I use normal glass jars because brown glass jars are ludicrously expensive. A normal jar, seal it up, and then I keep my herbs in a dark cupboard. So they are in the dark anyway. You can also keep them in plastic bags. Put them into a Ziploc bag like this and write a label on the front. And again, before I forget, make sure you label your jars too. Another way of keeping your harvest is to freeze them, especially culinary herbs. This is great. So here I've got marjoram, and I'm putting it into an ice cube tray. Just take off all the leaves and really pack them into these little trays here. And then what you're going to do is you're going to pour water on top, and you won't need much water because you are, as I said, packing these leaves in pretty tightly. So you pour your water in on top, make sure your leaves are in there, and then once that's done, put this into your freezer compartment of your fridge. It'll take about 2 hours to completely set, and when the ice cubes are completely set, pop them out and store them in a plastic freezer bag. This way you could be making more of them, and you could just label the freezer bag and use them anytime you want. They're perfect for putting into soups and stews and all sorts of recipes. The simplest way of freezing herbs though is just to put them into a freezer bag. Parsley's perfect for this. Pop it into a freezer bag like this, label your bag, seal the bag, and then just put it into your freezer. So that's it really for preserving your harvest. Very, very simple, very easy, and it means that you're keeping your herbs for use all through those dark winter months. So go on, have a go today. Happy harvest.